Welcome back. I'm Tieast Leverett, and we are here at the Aurora Italiana restaurant in West Bloomfield, Michigan. And we are here talking to influential women in Michigan as we anticipate celebrating International Women's Day in a few days. And I have the pleasure of talking to Miss Deb Macon. And I am so excited to learn a little bit more about you, talk about you and your journey. So as I ask all of the people I've been talking to today, just tell me in your own words a little bit about yourself, what you do, and what motivates you. I'd love to hear about that.
Oh, thank you, Thais. What a grand question. I'm a longtime resident of Greater West Bloomfield. I live in West Bloomfield Township. And when my family and I moved here, I knew I was looking for a community that gave me an opportunity to grow and develop, as well as my son. At the time, I was in a business career as an accountant, but I knew I needed something else. My son was young, and I made a decision to be part of a number of nonprofit organizations and developed an incredible passion.
Yes.
If you will, for supporting nonprofits, for being part of the public sector. I'm a teacher by heart, and just recently learned something that I'm really delighted to share.
Yes.
Each one, teach one. That is an African American proverb.
Absolutely.
And I was mentored by incredible women in St. Louis, Missouri. And these wonderful mentors actually laid a path out for me and said, here is what we suggest you do.
Wow.
I'm a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority.
I see that.
And these women were legends in St. Louis. And one of the organizations they encouraged me to affiliate with was the League of Women Voters.
Oh, wow.
I have learned so much and am delighted to be able to support others in community work. Professionally, I'm a governance consultant,
Okay.
which means I get to help organizations, help leaders understand how to leverage their leadership capability.
That's crucial. That's a very critical skill to master. I want to pause here for a second because you're mentioning St. Louis. So I have family in Florissant, Missouri. That's where my uncle lives. So
Oh my,
I spent many a summer in St. Louis visiting my uncle. So I'll be interested in talking more with you about that.
That would be great.
But I love the story that you shared about the women who influenced you
Yes,
to
for
dedicate
sure.
yourself to nonprofit and to giving. Because we often look at women mentors and they'll tell us a number of different things. Some will say focus on this, your professional development. Some will say focus on motherhood. But you had influence to focus on giving back.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit more about some of the organizations that you have chosen. I know there are many. We only got a few minutes.
Right.
But there are many, but some of the ones that have been the most influential for you in your service to the community.
You know what, I'm so pleased you said focused on the service aspect, because that is the one reason that I chose Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority as a senior in high school, not even in college yet.
So you knew all in high school.
Exactly. So what that service commitment has meant is literally what are opportunities within the community where I live.
Sure.
And that meant getting involved in the League of Women Voters, understanding what the public policy issues are locally, at a state level, and at a national level. And that opened an incredible door to leadership opportunities at the state and national level within this organization.
That's great.
But I've also focused on contributing to both my school district
Yes.
and my township. And so what that meant, you asked how do I feel I've been influential? I became a school board member in Bloomfield Hills.
Yes.
And as a school board member, the decisions that the team made together clearly shaped the lives of students and influenced their families.
For sure. So you mentioned that you moved to West Bloomfield a while ago. I'm going to get to that.
Yes.
And that you had your son in tow. Obviously, that influenced some of your decisions to be involved in the school board. I have to ask, what is your son doing now?
My son is a contractor.
Wonderful.
He leveraged his academic learning, but even more importantly, he loves to learn.
Yes.
And leveraged the skill set of those he was around. So I remember a younger friend teaching him some of the things that would become basic and standard in his work, and it's really just been a wonderful opportunity to be able to see that.
That's
when
great.
he needs a new skill set, he reaches out and hits the books. Now it's the internet.
Of course, of course. So he knows how to learn through whatever mechanism he needs to use.
Absolutely.
So let me ask you this.
Sure.
If someone is interested in serving as a school board member, we'll start with that. You've done a lot, so you probably can lay the groundwork or create a pathway for many things. But what kind of advice would you give them in terms of how to get involved, and then once they're successful, some expectations that they may have?
You know what, I did not know where our conversation would go, and I'm delighted that it's in this arena, because I have worked at that aspect very, very clearly. Getting elected to any position in a community depends on how well connected you are as an individual to the people and the principles and values of that community.
Sure.
So I was the mom who was always there, always willing to be in a supportive role, asking questions, wanting to understand how things work, and ended up in leadership roles within the parent community. And that and my support from friends who knew my volunteer work and community work within West Bloomfield was immensely supportive. And I would be remiss if I didn't say, and I also served for a number of years on the township board here in West Bloomfield.
Oh, interesting.
And those same principles come to play. It's how are you engaged with your neighbors, with your peers? How do you show up?
Right.
And my husband and I each worked on how will we show up for our school and our township community.
That is great.
And there are amazing organizations within Greater West Bloomfield. I'm a co-founder of the Community Coalition, which is supportive of our youth, and most notably, I get a wonderful opportunity to further a 50-plus year tradition with our Greater West Bloomfield Michigan Week.
Wow.
Where we recognize those who've made a difference. And I am so proud of being one of the 12 members of the Greater West Bloomfield Cable Communications Commission. We've had a chance to do some amazing work.
I would love to hear a little bit more about that. So people want to focus on the big guys, you know, the ones in Detroit or Chicago. But tell us a little bit more about the importance of local programming. And how that has shaped community or however you want to go with it. But I'd love to hear just what you think about your involvement in local television and broadcasting.
Now, the commission itself is not the producer.
Right.
we are in an oversight policy role. And
Sure.
that means what policies, what practices have to be in place, what encouragement, what motivation, so that we keep local programming at the center of our work.
Yes.
Literally. We're always the ones asking, or all the voices we need to hear from
Sure.
in the room. What type of programming? We've done some innovative things. One of our strong partners is the West Bloomfield School District.
Yes.
And football games.
Oh, you know it. You better not miss those.
Absolutely. And the community-based organizations all around our 4 communities count on us to help them show their value, help them connect to their own constituencies. And of course, we're broadcasting the local public meetings.
So important.
We're vigilant about community connections and community education, meaning, are you aware of what is happening? And
Right.
our innovative splash,
Yes.
hyper-local news. We take this very seriously and want to make sure we're reaching out as best we can using all of our wits about us.
Right, right. That's great. Well, with your long-standing legacy, I'm going to call it what it is, legacy in being in this community, what is one of your favorite things about Greater West Bloomfield? Why is this the place to be?
It's the reason I moved here. A real estate agent drove me around the region.
Sure.
And when we drove through West Bloomfield, I had already put West Bloomfield on my list, at the top of my list.
Sure.
I wanted to be present, to be a contributor to a growing and developing community. And it was the people here.
Yes.
Who are open and receptive. And I would be remiss if I didn't say the first opportunity I had for a leadership role in my local school district is because leaders who were there realized they needed to make space for newcomers.
So they didn't close things off. They
Oh my
created
God.
an opportunity.
It was the opposite of closed. And
great.
that's what I found in every organization.
That's great.
The Optimist Club, the Historical Society.
All of it.
All of it, absolutely.
That is great. That is wonderful to hear. And I still feel it's probably the same now. I found a home in West Bloomfield, not only a physical home, but a community home. And I feel like I've been embraced wherever I go.
We are delighted, and now that we get a chance to meet, let's just say there are some community events we need to make sure you know more about.
We will definitely be talking.
Absolutely.
So as we close out today, I'll ask one more question of you. So what's one piece of advice you would give, or how would you encourage someone who may be sitting and watching our conversation today, and they don't know how can they get involved more in the community? What's the one thing you would say to them?
Please show up for your community in some way. Reach out to a neighbor, check in with our own Civic Center TV
Yes.
to be able to see what is happening. Show up at one of the events and look for the person with the biggest smile
Yes.
who will reach out and connect with you and want to invite you back.
Very sound advice, very sound advice. Well, thank you so much, Ms. Deb Macon. We hope to hear much more from you in future opportunities. And I'm Tieast Leverett. Again, we are here at the Aurora Italiana restaurant talking to influential women in West Bloomfield as we anticipate International Women's Day coming up in a few days. So wonderful opportunity to talk to women who are making a difference in Michigan. Thank you.